Hey, guys, real quick before you get into the show, just want to let you know that we need you to subscribe. Hit subscribe. Do an algorithm. Say how sexy Bryan is. The man can dance. Yeah. And, guys, next week we're going to have a week off. People have to do some personal stuff. So we're going to take a week off. So enjoy it. Go back. Listen to the old episodes. Do all that stuff. Anything, Bryan?
That's it, buddy.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show.
I don't believe anybody that gets into that White House shouldn't be completely and utterly at every moment have their feet put to the fire of every moment.
Right here,
but you want to play this like I'm on one side good.
There you go, wood gypsy.
There you go, wood gypsy. You communist
communist.
When people ask, is everything a conspiracy? The answer is yes.
Who and what is controlling everything and why? They practice sorcery. I can't argue against magic.
I don't know what it is that we live on, but I believe it's a realm. This realm that we live in is the lowest level of heaven, highest level of hell.
Chicken snake gods and the Anunnaki and sorcery. If Sam says the chicken snake god is running everything, I'm literally in the world of crazy. I'm winning.
You're losing. Conspiracy Social Club, a.k.a. Deep Waters. Hey, we're in it, man. Yep. Welcome to Conspiracy Social Club, a.k.a. Deep Waters, a.k.a. Highway to the Danger Zone. People get mad because when I do the show with Dylan, I don't sing that song with him. I only sing it with you.
It's a great song.
Bryan, you seem to be a little sad today. Are you a little sad? Are you a little...
No, as I get older, I realize that as a student of history and as a student of religion now, nothing changes.
Right.
We go through cycles.
Yeah.
We go through ups. We go through downs. We are still flawed creatures as human beings, and I think the biggest mistake is expecting utopia from a society or a person.
Yes.
And I think the biggest mistake is expecting perfection from a society and a person.
Well,
and yeah.
I agree. Where are you going to be real quick before we get into it?
I'll be in at the Schaumburg Improv the 27th, 28th of October. I got to put that up there, and then I'll be at Good Nights in Raleigh, North Carolina, November 7th.
What are you doing every week?
And 9th. You never know with me. Where are you going to be, buddy?
I'm going to be at Morris Plains at the Dojo of Comedy. Then I'll be at Thousand Oaks at the Tarantula Hill Brewing Company. Somebody buy a ticket, please.
Tarantula.
Indianapolis Helium Clubs, St. Louis Helium Club, and then Bellflower, the stand-up club. I'm headlining their second anniversary show. Oh, and then dude, Vulcan and Dallas are coming up too with the Eddie Bravo. Very excited, very blessed to be here. So what do you guys want to get into, dude? I mean, a lot.
Israel.
My take on Israel is that, they want World War III, and this is how they get it. And
Israel wants World War III?
The war pigs want World War III, yes.
They want World War III?
Yeah.
That's the strangest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, and we are in it.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, everything's up. All the defense contractors are up. Yay!
So you think this was...
First of all, I just want to congratulate the military-industrial complex in getting to the left pro-war for the Ukraine and then the right pro-war for Israel. So congratulations. Everybody wants to die. Yay! Yay! There's nobody thinking anymore. The adults have left. It's just emotional children. Yay! Go on.
Is it your belief that this war was orchestrated then by the powers that be?
Oh, 100%.
What responsibility would you say does Hamas bear, and where do you draw the line?
They do as they're told.
By Iran?
Bryan, what episode is this, by the way? What episode is this? What episode is this?
312.
312.
Wait, are you
just making up a number?
No. It's
wait, I have a great, this is amazing. I need to know what the new conspiracies are on this so I can just get a kick out of this. Are you saying that the Israelis told Hamas what to do?
I'm saying that Israel has approved funding of Hamas by Qatar. That is a fact. They approved the funding, okay?
Yeah, well, that's a very simplistic version of that. So you're saying then Israel is to blame for this?
What?
Are you saying Israel is to blame for this?
Nope, those are weird words.
No, they're not weird words. It's a very direct question.
No.
And it sounds to
the
me like you're
Iron
hinting at
Dome
that.
just didn't work. Wow.
It did work. It worked very, very well.
It didn't work.
It worked
rockets
very
got
well.
through. And
some rockets
Israeli
always get
intelligence,
through.
which is considered the greatest, just didn't know this was happening. And by the way, I'm not the only one asking these questions. Former Israeli military officers are going, how is this possible?
So in fact,
I
what I think you're going to see.
I knew this was going to happen.
No, what you're going to see, number one, is that things do get past intelligence operations.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is you're going to see, and mark my words,
can't wait.
a lot of careers in the military, in intelligence, and in politics get terminated over this.
Do you mean like the same thing that happened on 9/11 where the guy who was in charge of NORAD actually didn't get fired but got a promotion? Is that what you're talking about?
So are you saying, you're saying
Brian,
that this was orchestrated by Israel?
I'm saying this is orchestrated by the war pigs.
Who
want they want World War III.
By who?
Doomsday cult,
because
military industrial complex.
So the Israelis always had a policy of what they called mow the grass in Gaza, right? So they'd mow the grass if there was rocket incursions, and there have been 5.
Right.
Since Gaza was given over to the Palestinians, the Hamas, really, Palestinian Authority first.
Yeah.
There've been 5 incursions, all of which were a response to rockets fired into Israel. So did Israel fire those rockets too? And were those rockets which were made apparently by Iran?
What was the
were they
game
made by America?
the hurling?
That's a great question.
What?
Yeah, I'm just here to ask questions.
Who's great question?
Callan asked you a great question.
Yeah, just curious. Who made those rockets and who shot them off?
Hamas.
Thank you. And who does Hamas get their training from and their orders from?
That's a great question, Brian.
Iran is the answer.
Oh, right. Brian,
the answer is Iran.
Oh, isn't that convenient,
Yes.
Brian? Why does it work so
let's
conveniently like that?
Let's get to
Qatar. It just works perfectly. I'm Hamas, and I'm going to snitch out who I'm snitching out who gave me all that. I mean, it just works so perfectly,
and let's
Brian.
get back to the
so
aid.
perfectly.
Yes.
Bad guys bad, good guys good, Brian. It's unbelievable at 56 years old where you think everything is black and white.
No, I don't.
No,
I
you
don't,
do,
actually.
Brian, because right now you think the bad guys are the bad guys and the good guys are the good guys.
So here's what I have.
Unbelievable.
We
I'm
have
going to make
a lot of show left. Can
Yes.
we just be good to one another?
No. Let me make a statement, and I want to see if Sam agrees.
I don't want
I'm going to make a statement. I want to see if you agree.
I just can't do this.
This event has nothing to do with the
Good guys
Israeli.
good,
Hold
bad
on.
guys bad.
Okay. I'm going to make a statement. I want you to react. This has nothing to do with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Oh, nothing.
That's a separate issue. So that's a real issue. And you can have your sympathy for the Palestinians 100%.
And you don't have
I do.
any sympathy
Of course
for
I
the
do.
Palestinians.
I was in the West
like there's
Bank.
no other group that
anybody.
does.
I do.
He does.
I was in the West Bank. I grew up in the Middle East. I lived there for 8 years of my life. I have some sympathy, believe me. I grew up with Palestinians,
Right.
so I have sympathy. But what I want to say is this. I'm going to make a statement. There is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict,
Right.
and that has been a tragedy,
Right.
And
Right.
I don't know the solution to that,
Right.
I don't. And oh, by the way, the people in Gaza have suffered a great deal as well.
Thank you.
There's been
I agree.
blockades and things like that.
Yes,
We all know.
I agree.
And there are a lot of people that have on the left in Israel, a lot of people in Israel in general, a lot of people in America who have a lot of
I don't
sympathy
think
for that.
Israelis are the bad people.
No, hold on. But I would say this. I think that sometimes in life, and this is one of the examples, when a group of people, and they call themselves Hamas, come over a border and kill a bunch of civilians and take a bunch of hostages, women and children.
Right.
I think you lose. I think that has very different. I don't even start talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I go like this. I go, you lose all your credibility. That was evil, and that has to be dealt with.
All right.
That's what I have to say. What do you think of
Brian.
that? What do you think of that?
Well, Brian, what I'm saying is that this conflict didn't start on Saturday. This has 100 years and
70 years, yeah.
A lot of time, Brian, and I'm sure before that 70 years there was a lot of conflict before that as well. So that's what I gotta say. And I do not want any death whether it's Jewish blood or Palestinian blood. Okay.
But there was a lot done on October 7th. So what do you have to say about that?
But Brian, what I have to say is that it didn't start on October 7th, and it's been going on for a long time. And we have people just kicking people out of their houses. We have soldiers shooting children dead, and we have people in jail. And it's not just like October 7th started this.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so this is a long thing going on. So to sit there and act like that, and we have people coming in and be like, this started on this day, and you have people who always are on the wrong side of every moment.
Yeah,
they're on the chiming in emotionally.
But don't you think it's important to make a stand when you see something like this, right? Is there a standard?
Brian, I do not sit there and condone what Hamas has done. I also don't go like that was just completely unprovoked.
Right, so what would you do? What would you do in this situation? Would you go into Gaza and level Hamas? Do you think that's possible?
I wouldn't.
You would not.
I wouldn't, because what you're doing is you are annihilating people whose lives have already been completely deteriorated,
right, so you don't,
and live under apartheid law.
But what would you do in this? What is Israel supposed to do? Like, what would you tell Israel if you were in the Knesset right now? Like, I'm just putting you on the spot.
I don't know, Brian, because it goes much deeper than October 7th. This is a systemic problem between these two people, in which one group has no money, no power, no guns, no nothing, and they have nothing. The average person in the average Palestinian has no power. Has none.
I know.
And we're making them the aggressors when we have a small group of people who, if I've studied history of war, that the powers that be fund both sides, and they agitate. So Hamas throws rockets into Israel, and what happens after that? All of hell comes raining down on them. They don't. There's no plus side to this.
I would say that Hamas is also taking. So Qatar gives Gaza $33 million a month. There's been a lot of aid initiatives that go to Gaza.
$1,000 a month.
No million. Oh, no. But I think maybe it's more than that. But either way, there's a lot of aid that goes to Gaza, and the problem is that Hamas doesn't represent the people of Gaza in a lot of ways. Hamas takes a lot of that money, and so there's a great deal of corruption, of course, as there always is. And so I think in many ways the 15-year-old boy in Gaza is held hostage to Hamas as well. Right, so you've got, in those situations, you have pretty bad people that rise to the top, right?
Right.
In this situation, and they're willing to do things other people aren't willing to do. My thing is this: when you come across a border, like we can talk about the desperation and stuff like that, but when you have a systematic effort that's planned like that, and you come across the border and kill, and not only all these civilians, but then take women and children and elderly hostage, you've lost your credibility. You can't in any way make an excuse for that.
All right.
And you sound like you are making an excuse.
I'm not making an excuse, Brian. I'm just not naive to think that this is a October 7th sudden dust up. This is a long way, and that the Palestinian, I don't care. I mean, play whatever music you want. Doesn't matter to
Worst
me at all.
Take Ever by Sam Tripoli.
That's fine. Doesn't bother me, and I'll die on this hill, because
what hill are you dying on?
I'm dying on this hill that the Palestinians should be annihilated, which is what everybody on the internet is calling for right now.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
I understand what you're saying.
So it's not that simple, Brian.
Yeah, it's not
okay.
That simple.
And to sit there, this is the only conflict in the fucking world where the people have no money, no power, and no say are the bad guys. This is the only place in the world this narrative is allowed to happen. No other place. Anywhere else in the world, we go, oh, these poor people are being oppressed by the people who have everything. But here in this place is the only place where we go, fuck those people who have nothing, and they have their whole lives, their water and their power. I saw some guy tweet the other day that maybe you shouldn't kill 1,000 of the people who control your water and the power, which I'm asking, why do they control their water and power? Nobody asked that question. And that's my whole part. I am anti-war.
Well, remember, who did Gaza belong to before 1967?
Yeah, as the British sit back quietly and just allowed to muck this all up.
It belonged to Egypt. And then in 2006, was it? I think the 24,000 Israelis.
The British, the Balfour Doctrine.
The Balfour Doctrine.
Yeah, gave the land to the Rothschilds.
No.
Yes.
Sam,
What?
Sam, what?
What?
Sam, what?
What?
Sam,
What?
Sam, that's not what the Balfour Declaration did.
Yeah, gave it to the Rothschilds.
No, that's not what the Balfour Declaration did.
Yeah, it did.
Holy God.
Holy God.
Oh, God,
Oh,
Sam.
God,
Sam,
Brian.
we need to get you a
Brian,
history
are you
lesson.
going to embarrass yourself right
History
now?
Sam is speaking.
Okay.
History Sam, you
History
need to...
Sam is... History Sam
The
has a
Balfour
pretty good
Declaration
record on the
didn't
show,
sell
Brian.
the fucking
History
land.
Sam has a pretty good record on the show. History Sam's done pretty well.
It did recognize Israel. Look up the Balfour Declaration as a Jewish homeland, right?
Balfour Declaration was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War, announcing its support for the establishment of a national home
Who was
for
it
the
written
Jewish
to?
people
Dylan,
in
who was it written
Palestine.
to?
Palestine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was it written to? And the comment section will know the truth.
No, but I'm saying the British said the Jews have a right to a homeland
Right.
in 1917.
And that was written...
World War One.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Oh, God.
Thank God the bell's on that side. Authors: Arthur Balfour, Leo Amory, and a guy named Walter Rothschild.
I know that, but I'm saying Rothschild, which means red shield.
Oh, yeah.
House of the Red Shield.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but it's not like that was sold to the Rothschilds.
It was given.
No, they didn't get the land.
Yes, they did.
No, because a lot of Jews own actually Israel was mostly founded by socialists. Do you know that? It really was. By the early Israelis in the 40s and 50s were all pretty much socialists. That's what the kibbutzim was all about. The kibbutz was like a commune, right? It was like, we'll all live together, we'll all be equal and stuff like that. That didn't work out so well. Bibi Netanyahu actually is credited for bringing more of a capitalist market to Israel, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm saying is that when you say that it was given to the Rothschilds,
Brian,
no, it wasn't.
Brian,
no,
you're arguing
works.
things that are understood already. And what I want to say is you bring up Netanyahu. This is the guy who only a couple months ago, the world and Israel was protesting for his complete and utter power grab, okay? And then let's not get into the fact that this is a man who is openly exporting African Jews out of Israel. I mean, this is a disgust. I mean, this is not. It's 100% true. They are deporting African Jews.
Sand.
Is that sand?
It is sand.
Oh no!
I mean, because there's a lot of sand thrown up in the way of what we need to be focusing on, and I'm having trouble on this. I think.
Okay, because you're acting like Netanyahu isn't the Dick Cheney of the Middle East.
Is it at least significant that Hamas's charter is partially dedicated to the eradication of Israel as a state?
Well, it just seems like every time there needs to be a land grab that Hamas just acts up. That's my opinion, and I will die on that hill.
Okay.
Well, so I mean, I was going to ask you, the Israelis did pull out of Gaza in 2006, right? So, you know what I'm saying? They did because they're African infiltrators. They're not Jews. They're African.
They
Muslims.
are, dude. They're getting rid of African Jews, man.
They probably are dealing with an immigration problem the way we are. That would be one of the ideas.
All right.
If they're not legal in Israel, they're going to get deported, just like in the United States. So we have to be a little careful with that.
Okay.
Okay. There is an African exodus, and there's a lot of that going. A lot of African migrants. Okay. Now, before we get into that, you are.
By the way, are we going to do hot chick TikTok today?
I have a hot
Yes,
chick.
I want
I
to.
have the hot. She's so hot.
Yes, she is. But wouldn't you say though that Israel did pull out of Gaza, and I don't know that they want that land.
I mean, like it's very clear. I don't hate Israelis at all. I have major problems with the Israel government policies, which would make Israel no different than Canada, England, Germany, Russia, China, all of Latin America, Mexico, and my own government. So I have problems with policies of government because they tend to wedge between between humans and God. That's my opinion.
Yeah. That's fair. I know what you're saying, Sam. I really do. Like, you have a lot of sympathy for, you just, it's to your credit. It is. It's to your fucking credit. You know what's crazy about this part of the world? You know what? And having been there and having lived in, the outskirts of it, it's amazing that part of the world, Israel, Judea, Samaria, whatever you want to call it, the biblical homeland of the Jews, but also the Canaanites and the Moabites and the Arabs, and if you look
and the
at
megabytes,
this, it's really interesting because that
and the
part,
pizza
that
bites,
part of the world,
that
part of the world for the most part has no resources and nothing really grows. Like, it's just a sun-baked part of the world.
You want to hear something hilarious?
And it's not that, it's swamps or salty seas. And it's just the most contested part of the world.
It's so crazy.
And it's all because Isaac went to sacrifice his son Abraham went to sacrifice his son
That's a crazy
Isaac.
story, bro.
So the Temple Mount and the temple, first temple was built there. They literally, think about this. This land is contested by Christians, Muslims, and Jews because Abraham was said to have gone to sacrifice his son on the mount, and God stayed his hand and said, wait, you just proved that you're faithful. Sacrifice this lamb that's caught in that thicket instead. That story is what it's all about.
Yeah, that's so crazy,
and
right?
the Temple Mount, which is the mosque, which used to be the Temple of Jerusalem, and now Jews are actually going in there and praying, which is causing a major problem. I mean, it is like, because the Ottomans built that Temple Mount, the Turks. They were like, yeah, you get this fucking temple out of here. That's why the Wailing Wall, it's the retaining wall to the original temple. It's the only thing standing. When you go there, it's just nothing but Orthodox Jews that are praying, doing this.
So
they're praying
crazy.
This is so strong.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
This spiritual connection for Christians, Jews, and the Christians are spiritually connected because a first century Jew was killed by the Jews. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
The whole thing is insanity.
It's totally crazy.
And
that story is nuts. So I'm reading the Bible, right? Just because I want to see what's in it. And like, there's moments in there where I'm like, that's weird. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. Like when Lot leaves with his daughters and they
have sex with him.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on?
And they get pregnant by him.
Yeah.
And those become, I believe, the Moabites.
Yeah, dude.
Like, what?
It's really weird.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, if I can sit there and praise the Bible, I have to talk about the weird things in the Bible.
But that's the strength of the Bible. The strength of the Bible, the Old Testament, is that these characters are so flawed.
Yeah.
They're so flawed. And every
That's
time,
such a good point.
They're flawed. They're real human beings.
Yeah,
they're all Saul, Solomon. The God was like, if you want a king, which you should, and you should just follow me. But if you want a king, make sure the king doesn't take a bunch of wives and multiply his gold. Like Solomon, I think it was Solomon or Saul. Solomon had literally 700 wives and 300 concubines. He had 1,000 women.
Yeah,
1,000.
Oh my God.
Now I don't blame him, but still.
Yeah, I get that, but that's also a lot of people going, why aren't you talking to me? Why don't you love me? Am I fat in these jeans?
It's kind of insane.
It's insane.
Let's go to Hot Girl TikTok on this subject.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can't forget David and Uriah.
Hey, by the way, has anybody been sending you links to TikToks?
Yes.
Okay, again, what we want to do is we want to take some time to watch some of these creative TikToks, conspiracy TikToks. So if you find a cool conspiracy TikTok, either go to the Conspiracy Social Club TikTok,
aka Deep Waters,
or on Instagram or TikTok, right? Have you checked both? Send us a link, and if it passes Dylan's smell test, we will watch it.
And it's tough to pass the smell test because there are certain things that Callan will just not entertain.
Well, but Israel has a lot of hot chicks with guns.
Oh, they're so hot when they twerk.
Military gals.
When we twerk,
like that's an example. Look at how hot she is.
Look at those eyebrows.
Oh my God,
all day.
So hot.
Okay, now this is in Hebrew.
I never thought Hebrew could sound this sexy either. Listen to this.
They're so cute. She served in the IOF in 1904. I served in Gaza. Logical support. There's no way, I'm telling you.
להיות כזאת התקרבות לגדר, אוקיי? מבלי שאנחנו לא נדע מזה. התצפיתניות יושבות בבונקרים 4 שעות, הן לא יכולות לעשות ככה. הן מול מסך.
Think about it. Can you stop that for a second? So, if you get that job, you are not allowed to look away. For 4 hours, you must stare at the screen.
I go
You
crazy.
cannot look anywhere else. You can't be like, hey, what's going on TikTok? You have to be like, 4 hours, bang. And she's saying there's no way in hell that anyone could get near that border without this defense system.
I just want to go marry her.
She is so
I'm married and I love my wife.
She
I love
is
my wife.
so hot.
I love my wife, but
I
my
would let her
God,
kosher
she's an
fart on me,
operations
by the way.
sergeant.
What?
She's an operations sergeant. I don't know what it means, but she's just
That means we don't let the hot
painfully
chick
hot.
get near battle.
Yeah,
We just have
dude.
them.
When you're at the airport in Israel and the girl's like checking your bag, you're looking at her going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?"
Yeah.
like you are biblically.
Have you
hot.
ever been to Toronto's like that?
Yes, I
Where
have.
you just get the
So
hottest
is
chick.
Montréal. Montréal, il y a du femme, il y a des femmes, il y a des femmes qui est, mais c'est incroyable, c'est vraiment joli.
Yeah. I don't even know what you
Le
said. Watch the
pigeon
rest of
Judy.
it. There's no way in hell.
Sorry guys, I speak
שום
French.
מצב שהיו מעירים אותי בלילה על יונה.
Yeah, they would wake me up for a
על חסידה
pigeon,
שקרבה על הגדר,
a stork too close to the barrier,
על מקף
cockroach
שעבר
under the
מתחת
thing.
לגדר, היו מקפיצים את כל הגזרה.
Yeah.
איך
Now they
נכנסו
enter
עם
with
טרקטורים?
tractors. Yeah, you're totally right.
איך נכנסו עם טרקטורים?
Yeah,
Let
she's
me keep
totally
watching
right.
this. Is that it?
That's it. That's it.
How could 400 men enter with tractors?
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. And people can get angry if they want. I get it,
It
man.
was such a strange attempt, like boats, hang gliders,
Dude.
tractors.
Hang gliders.
I think sometimes something this low tech can be like, are you fucking serious? Like you're not looking for hang gliders, speed boats, and tractors. It's literally like they watched a
Your
movie.
Honor, they're on rollerblades.
Yeah, they've been very careful about like, did Iran plan this or not? But if Iran did plan this, like if they were sitting around going, all right, guys, we're gonna get some hang gliders. You're gonna come in on hang gliders. You're gonna come in on boats, speed boats.
Bryan,
And then you're
let
going
me
to
ask
come
you
in
something.
with a tractor. Everybody would be like, wait a minute. Is there a better plan here? Because we're going to be running in.
Yeah.
But that's what they did.
But don't you find it kind of crazy that conveniently, like a week before, Joe Biden just out of nowhere gives Iran a $6 billion out of nowhere? But it's just,
yeah, but-
and then this happens
Well,
when Mac Gaetz gets rid of the Speaker of the House. Suddenly, the U.S. government's a little bit in chaos. This all just perfectly happens.
I think what this is about, if you want to know what the reason they think Iran gave Hamas the go-ahead, would be that, remember, Saudi Arabia, the United States was brokering a deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel. That is the craziest thing you can imagine, because the House of Saud, which is the House of Islam,
Right.
where Mecca and Medina are,
Right.
were actually truly, now the older generation were like, no, but bin Salam, the crown prince who runs everything there.
Yeah,
and is
he's
modernizing
the guy that
country,
just lit
he
up
goes,
everybody.
We're gonna sign a deal with Israel. Now that's a Sunni country. The Gulf states are going to come probably with Saudi Arabia. The money and the weaponry now against their enemy Iran, who are Shia Muslim, would be overwhelming. Remember, the Persians and Iran have nothing to do with Arabs. They don't speak the language. Farsi and Arabic are completely different languages, totally different cultures. When people like conflate the two, they're crazy. And also, it's Shia Muslims, and you're talking about a Sunni nation, the most powerful, richest.
Didn't Iran, though, meet with Saudi Arabia recently? And
I don't know if they met with Saudi Arabia, but remember
I
now,
think they
Iran,
did.
I got one more twist for you. Who is Iran's ally? Russia.
Well, that's
Right?
why I say World War III, because if Iran enters the chat,
Yeah.
then through a treaty, China and Russia must enter the
That's
chat
right.
as well.
That's right. And now you got Russian oil, Iranian oil. China needs that oil. So it's very interesting. So if you really want to get into the geopolitics of this, now I think that Israel, the last thing Israel wanted personally, no matter whether they were hawks or doves, whether they were Netanyahu, who was always criticized, by the way, Netanyahu has always been criticized for not delivering the death blow. He was the one, all of them were like, mow the grass, it works in Gaza, mow the grass. So they don't have to kill certain, couple rocket things, couple assassinations. We got rid of that. let them deal with it, because nobody wanted to deal with the Israelis didn't want to deal with having to manage Gaza. That's too expensive. And my feeling is now that Israel is faced with this something none of them wanted to do, which is, hey guys, now everybody in Israel wants you to crush Hamas, the end of Hamas. That means that's an area the size of Washington, D.C. I talked to some soldiers about this. They're like, guys who've done this stuff. They were like, dude, it's this area the size of fucking Washington, D.C. with 2.5 million people. Tunnels and everything. You think anybody wants to go house to house? Impossible. It's going to be a disaster.
It's going to be a disaster.
And by the way,
such a tragedy,
already, I don't know how many civilians have been killed. Israel, the last thing I think
Brian,
Israel wanted to do is
did you see the video of the Palestinian guy holding his dead kid?
I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
I can't handle any of
it.
it.
That kid is our babies at ages.
They're all our children. Everyone is our. As you get older,
That's
you
what I'm
realize that the
talking
world
about.
is.
I
everybody
can't
in the world is your child. The
deal with
Israelis, the Palestinians, they're all your children.
Do you guys have any thoughts on how much misinformation is coming out right now? Because there are so many videos.
Even in Israel, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
In Israel, that's a large conspiracy which has not been dispelled by Netanyahu yet. So they're like, hey, somebody's got to say something here because
about the dome, the Iron Dome.
Well, the Iron Dome's been working. It's not the Iron Dome they were saying. It's like, how did this happen?
How did intelligence not catch this?
Failure happen?
And who said that? Vivek, right?
Vivek
was
no, it's not
about.
just that. The Egyptians warned the Israelis that something big was happening. Do you know that?
Okay, so read that because I can't
Egyptian
read it.
intelligence.
Let's run this down.
Egyptian intelligence warned Israel something big was going to happen. And, sometimes like people are like, a lot of times Israel, when you go there, it's a very militarized place. And I think sometimes when nothing's happened for a long time, you get complacent.
Okay, I also want to say something to you, Brian, that you might not be able to come to understand is there's a history of governments ignoring intelligence because if the thing that they're being warned about happens, it allows them to enter a war that maybe
I can understand.
Okay?
I understand, but
so
I just don't think they want this war.
But Brian, I just want to say this. Okay, Pearl Harbor. There is a really good argument that FDR knew the Japanese were coming, and because America didn't want to get into World War II, so you allow this thing to happen, and which draws us into World War II. I know you hate hearing this, but on 9/11, we had intelligence saying that something was going to go down, and our intelligence agencies ignored it. And on the day, NORAD was running 1,000 simulations, and that nobody was able to focus on what was going on.
I think sometimes that can happen.
Okay,
but just go back to that. Let me just see let me read what you were showing me.
Yeah.
So Israel chose to ignore intelligence from Egyptian officials about a major attack coming from Hamas. And who knows how many times they've warned them of that, right? And you don't even know what that means. Multiple former IDF soldiers and Israeli intelligence personnel have come forward online and said there's a 0% chance Israel was unaware of this attack beforehand or couldn't have prevented it. We just watched unsophisticated terrorists on hang gliders soar into one of the most heavily defended and surveilled countries on the planet. Within 48 hours of the attack, we're now suddenly seeing enormous support for an American war with Iran and the genocide of the Palestinian people. I'm witnessing American pastors and formerly level-headed influences in our world completely lose their minds and call for genocide. It's unsurprising but insane to watch. If the events of the past 3 years have taught me anything, it is that when people get whipped into an emotional frenzy, official thinking completely goes out the window. That's true. Who is this who wrote this stuff?
I mean, it doesn't. Does it really matter?
Yeah. Well, it's worth talking about.
Okay, here we go.
It is worth talking
Who
about.
was it, Dylan? Because this is a classic Dylan move.
Yeah.
Lull us into happiness and acceptance, and then hit us with a fucking low blow kneecap.
It is an intriguing question.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It is very, very curious.
Well, and really,
I think Israelis are asking us, how the hell did you not see this? Is it possible that it just, like, you're not worried about hang gliders, speedboats, and men on, you're just not worried about
low tech?
Yeah. Now all of a sudden,
could you
and oh, by the way, you might have been concerned with the 5,000 rockets. That's the other thing. Remember, they did shoot off rockets that distracted everybody. So they knew what was going on. The American government was willing to sacrifice the lives of American citizens in order to advance its geopolitical goals. Before I read that, let me just make this statement. Hamas is not dumb, and Iran is not dumb, and they did shoot off some crazy number of rockets. Crazy number. The Iron Dome the Iron Dome took out a lot of them, but some of them always get through. And that's where you go. I think everybody goes, there are rockets. Like people are looking up in a way.
Hamas
right?
claimed that at least 5,000.
I mean, that's a lot of rockets. So all of a sudden
I get it.
Holy shit. That was smart because they shot the rockets, then they came in on hang gliders, look over here and then come on here. So that would be a diversionary tactic. So I don't know anything about how they run their border.
What is the purpose, Brian, of Hamas doing this?
I think here's the purpose. One, mainly to scuttle the Saudi Arabian-Israeli deal. Mainly that, and probably also because it would in many ways, the irony, and very smart, the irony is this is profitable to Hamas. Even though a lot of them are going to die, there's a cold calculated idea that what it actually does is turn most of the world against Israel. Because Israel now, I can promise you, is going to take matters into their own hands, and already in 3 days we're seeing some pretty harsh stuff when you blow up buildings. One of the things that there was a weapon cache in a mosque. They don't tell you that, but there were a bunch of secondary explosions when they blew it up. But the press is like, they blew up a mosque. And you will see and have seen a massive amount of anti-Israel
It's
sentiment.
just so interesting, dude, the way we see the world. It's like, it's like the people who are anti-gun, like they were anti-cop, and then they became anti-gun, where they wanted only the cops to have the guns. So you say, oh, we found this weapons in this thing, and you're like, okay, as you discuss that Israel is going to mow the grass and annihilate But
wouldn't you say this? I
don't have the answer to it, but it's absolutely insane.
You know why you
me.
may not have the answer? Because what we're also dealing with, like with always in this country and everything, there are certain groups that profit only from chaos. They don't. So you and I are thinking about, like, why can't we just want to make the world better? We want to make Palestinians, children go to school and have nice lives. We want we want all these people to be okay. There are a lot of people who don't benefit from that.
There are
probably
more people don't benefit from it than benefit.
There are groups, the far left in this country. That, there are people.
You're totally right.
That benefit from
the far
chaos.
left, the far right, then way at the top.
Pakistan doesn't benefit from a stable Afghanistan. Russia doesn't benefit from, the different countries, sometimes they benefit from some stability here, no stability over here. You could say the same thing about the United States. The United States doesn't necessarily benefit from a stable, when Iraq was our quote unquote enemy, they didn't necessarily benefit from a stable, prosperous Iraq.
Yep.
Especially if Iraq had designs to build weapons of mass destruction.
War pigs, bro.
Speaking of war pigs, I mean, could this just be a result of our puppeteering everywhere causing?
Oh, I'm 100. I mean, like,
this is
the U.S. military-industrial complex is the greatest death machine on planet Earth.
This is a speech from Ron Paul.
Well, so just so you guys know, Hamas was created technically by Israel as a push against the PLO. So that is a historical fact.
Yeah, just like we created Al Qaeda and ISIS.
It's called Blowback.
Okay, well,
but I don't want to. But we have to be very careful here, not to blame Israel for one of the worst fucking terrorist attacks in their history.
No, yeah,
not
doing that.
Okay, I mean, we're not blaming Israelis.
No.
Okay.
No. We're blaming Donald.
We're wondering what happened on this day, as we asked on 9/11, as we asked on Pearl Harbor, which led to great death and destruction.
Surprise is an effective tool, though.
So it's not surprise when you choose I'm sorry, Bryan. You have to ask these questions. So we don't have to ask it today because emotions are high.
you should ask questions.
But we have to ask these questions.
They're asking questions. The Knesset right now.
We might not know the answer to this to 3 weeks later, 3 months later. Is Israel got more land? Has Israel expanded this? These might be the answers to these questions.
Well, Israel is asking a lot of questions, and a lot of people are going to get fired. And have their
we will see. We will see, buddy.
We're not blaming Israel, okay? We're blaming Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump's fault because of the intel leaks that came out of his
I mean, they just love to come backwards.
Sam is a huge Putin/Trump fan, so just be careful with this stuff.
So you will lay
Sam
this
does
on
not
the
like
lap.
criticism of Donald Trump. He does not like criticism of Putin.
What are you talking
Please
about?
be careful on this.
Okay.
He is.
All right. By the way, are you still talking Russian collusion? Did you guys watch that Bill Maher episode where that hot cross-eyed chick just lit up Bill Maher and Sam Harris? Anytime I can watch Sam Harris's big head get beat like a piñata, that's my new pornography.
No, I didn't see that. I'd like to see that though.
She lit them up.
Really?
Yeah, she's like, because they still believe in parts of the Russiagate story, and she's like, none of that's real. And we all have, every single investigation has come up with, we could not find anything. You know, the Federal Election Committee fined.
What did Sam Harris say?
My feelings. Okay. That's what he talked about.
All right. Well, really quickly, you'll lay the blame of the $6 billion to Iran on Biden's lap, but is Trump responsible for this because of the intel leaks?
No.
Okay, great.
Okay, this is it. By the way, Dad loves cross-eyed chicks. Okay. And look at her. She's slightly cross-eyed, and that's the perfect amount of cross-eyed. Okay. Just a little bit in makes me feel good.
Can you explain why it makes you feel good?
I don't know why. When I look at it, I go, wow, that is so hot.
I know what it is. There's a vulnerability, and you want to take care of her.
You know what's so funny is like they talk about how women are attracted to men with handicaps because they're able to overcome that. It's a sign of strength.
My old girlfriend couldn't help it if a guy had a stutter. She was like, oh God, like she just wanted to take care of him.
Yeah. So when I see this woman, I go, look at those slightly cross-eyed. It's just hot.
Okay.
Sin where you talk about law enforcement problems and Republican attitudes toward law enforcement, particularly of the FBI on this stuff. The original sin from both media and the intelligence agencies.
Hold on, stop everything for a sec. She is an absolute D1 stud athlete.
Yeah.
If she's not if she looks like she looks like an MMA fighter she
looks like a volleyball player.
Yes. She looks like she played D1 volleyball and will spike the ball. She looks like the kind of woman, if you play volleyball against her on the beach, you better wear a helmet.
Yeah.
You and I better have helmets or we're going to get fucking knocked out.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
She is stronger.
And she's slightly cross-eyed.
And her voice is deeper than both of us.
Daddy's never pulling out, ever.
That's a girl who belongs with J.J. Watt or one of the Bosa brothers.
She's don't go inside. Too late.
Yeah, I'm too late.
Calm down.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
What?
She's a CrossFit
We respect her and her political views.
Man, what
law
about
enforcement is the Russiagate stuff.
Oh.
And the reason that so many in the party, and I'm here as the translator because I'm not one of them, but so many in the party accept so much of Donald Trump's behavior is because the Russia stuff was a lie and nobody paid for it.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't all a lie.
Yes, it's not all a lie.
Yes, it was, dude. Sam Harris is so lost.
Dossier on me?
No.
Well, some of the Steele dossier was true.
No, it wasn't, Bill.
We did Mueller report for 3 years.
Yes, and Mueller never said he was innocent.
And the whole time,
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
like, guys, I don't think he's a Russian plant. And everyone on CNN set is looking at me like I'm crazy. And at the end, we get to not much there, which
No,
was
there
the
was
case
quite a bit
throughout.
there.
No, there wasn't, Bill. You're lost.
We never had before. It was unprecedented.
Nope. Yep.
That a president would do that. He just did it in public because he's insane.
Dude, listen to what Bill Maher just said right there.
I think one of the advantages
Of being insane. Most of it.
Is that gaslighting or is that straw man?
Wait, let me watch this. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Let me hear Sam.
Is David Frum's line. Everything he's doing is in plain view, and it's not illegal. He's just violating every political norm we have.
Except there are things.
Yeah, okay, that's not against the
like
law.
Using the FISA court to spy on American citizens is
Yes.
that they should not have done.
That
that was legal, but that wasn't him.
That's right.
And the fact that the Hillary Clinton campaign was partially responsible for funding this dossier, which partially came from, wait for it, Russian disinformation.
Yeah.
It was and it started this cycle of media.
I love
circle
her.
jerk, and then we had 4 years of that.
She say circle jerk? I'm in. Stop hitting Jesus, please.
I think it was his own election authority guy who said something like, I can't believe I have to explain this, but it is illegal to accept anything of value in an election from a foreign national. He accepted things of value.
That's not the same thing.
His campaign manager.
Yeah,
was
he's just
trading
nuts.
Campaign information with a GRU agent. That's not collusion with Russia?
No,
What
it's
about the
not,
meeting with
dude.
Don Jr.? I have
It's
very-
not.
Paul Manafort run your campaign.
I don't, like, and Paul Manafort has been did illegal.
Hold on, stop. That is not what happened. Paul Manafort got busted for not registering as a foreign
Correct.
when he worked for the Podesta
Correct.
group. That had nothing to do with Trump.
Correct.
Sam Harris is once again saying dog shit. I'm sorry. You can beep dog shit if you want, but he's just lying.
Well, I don't know. Sam hasn't said much here, so let me hear what he has to say.
Well, he just brought up the Manafort.
Let's see.
It's just like Paul Manafort is like a 200-pound gold bar in the closet. I mean,
A lot of this is a comedy show. So they're trying to say things that are going to register.
the transgression, the unseemliness of it is right on the surface.
I would snatch their souls on the show.
It's not exactly everything they said it was, but it's not nothing.
Yes, it is nothing. Literally nothing. She got found guilty. They didn't find anything.
She's way more athletic
Listen to
and
this.
stronger.
For Biden and Hunter Biden's shenanigans and fairly obvious influence peddling is worlds apart.
Yep.
Worlds apart. And I would just like, and voters deserve fairness in how these two people are treated. They do not get it, and they sometimes don't get it from law enforcement.
Please stop hitting Jesus.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot to untangle here, but I'll completely grant you that if Hunter Biden had been Don Jr., if it had been Don Jr.'s laptop, everything would change in terms of the reception. And that seems like an unfair asymmetry. But the background reality is we have never had a person like Trump in our politics, certainly not in the lifetime of anyone in this studio. And he has shattered every norm. I mean, we didn't even know how much we relied on norms. I mean, we're a nation of laws, but more important than the laws are the norms. Like,
No, they're not more important than the laws when it comes to politics.
I mean, that was the most shocking violation of
But you got to remember something. Let me just stop this for a second. I will say this is the thing about Bill Maher and Sam Harris. I just have to say it.
That they're wrong?
Well, you're dealing with two people who have lived very sheltered lives.
Yes.
They have lived in
Yes.
books and they've
Yes.
lived in Hollywood. Sam Harris
Yes.
grew up. His mother was the creator of the Golden Girls, among other things.
Oh my God.
Sam grew up. Sam's a very smart guy, and Sam does his best to get to the truth. But Sam did grow up. He did grow up in Los Angeles with crazy amounts of money.
Yes.
I mean crazy
Amounts.
And to his own admission,
So did Bill
to his
Barr.
own admission, same thing.
mother
To his
very
own-
powerful in Hollywood.
They're all insanely wealthy kids.
Yeah.
And to his own admission, he said, in my phone book, I don't think I have anybody in my phone book that works with their hands or even smokes. And I'm sorry, but and he knows this. When you live in a world that is not how the rest of us live, when you can make your living by talking and reading books, and you've never really done anything with your hands, never come into contact like that.
I have calluses. I've done work
deal
with
with
my
real
hands.
people. But Sam, you're a comic, and you're a guy who grew up like you didn't grow up with money. You came to L.A. Come on, we hanging around the Comedy Store. Whatever it is, like you have your own business. That is just different.
I agree.
And you're going to have a very, very sanitized view of the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also, Trump is going to be shocking to you.
Right,
He's going
right.
to be shocking to you just because he uses bad words and the way he talks. Whether you want to admit that or not, Trump is a guy who you avoid in the bar. He was the guy with his buddies that were doing sports, making noise, and you just avoid it because they might beat you up.
But it's
that's
also
literally
that
what's going on.
we at the peak of political correctness, you had somebody who just said what he felt, and people wanted to hear that.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, and we had a
He spoke like the people you kind of listen to sports radio with, right?
Yes.
Right?
I mean, we also
He's
get
also
into
funny.
We'd also get into the Freemasonry of Trump and how a lot of this is like sending everybody to him, that Biden has become this boogeyman that's running everybody to Trump. That's definitely a possibility, right, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I like the way you're talking. It's interesting.
So you don't think there's any smoke
To what?
Trump and Russia?
Well, I don't necessarily think that. I mean, my question becomes if there is smoke, which sounds based on you setting me up. I've been around you long enough that I know when a setup's coming. Okay, but my question becomes: is his connection to Russia that worse than Obama, Hillary, and Joe
The
Biden?
answer is no. And more importantly,
you.
is his connection to Russia, which there wasn't much of one, but let's just say there was. It was his connection to
This
this
guy.
connection.
I appreciate
Trump's
you,
connection
Dylan.
to
I
Russia.
appreciate you.
Here's the logic. Did Trump's connection to Russia have anything to do with whether he won the election in 2016? And the answer is, of course not. Russia had nothing to do with Trump getting elected in 2016. Trump got elected in 2016 because people were so tired of 8 years of Obama
or
and
Hillary not going to
account.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
There's a lot of
these are important states to the Democrats.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm starting to think?
That I'm
really
right
starting to
about
think-
everything?
Yeah, I'm starting to think that like this is one big simulation. And Sam is looking at the world through conspiracies and going, there's somebody in control of all of this. And I'm looking at it as going, nobody's that smart. And I just go with the least sexy option because people are dumb. And then, and people who are over here have another point of view. And, it's a little bit like if I'm looking at the sea from a beautiful terrace and it's a calm day, it looks amazing. And I feel great and I got a cup of coffee in my hand. That's my reality of the sea. You take me and throw me in the middle of that water, and I got a very different perspective of what the fuck the sea is.
Yeah, I agree, Brian.
So
I just watched Meg 2.
sometimes
By
reality-
the way, I was telling
Yeah, oh, God.
I want to write a movie with you and Jason Statham that would be, you guys are brothers.
Okay.
You just want to do theater. He needs you to help save the world.
Great idea.
And together you guys fight.
I'll do it. Just get me uncanceled and I'm in.
Yeah, you're in. You're uncanceled.
Yeah, but I would love to do that. But like, think about that. Like that would be interesting. I wonder if reality is where you are standing and the question you're asking. That's reality.
Yeah.
Brian, here's the thing. For me, what is this?
Listen, you guys don't want to acknowledge the facts of the situation, but I mean, to say that there's no smoke and that he was exonerated.
Okay, Trump is a de facto candidate. Paul Manafort was a longtime consultant to Victor.
That means nothing.
Russian-backed president of the
means
Ukraine,
absolutely nothing.
who's overthrown. Manafort
What
had
this
done
means is
$1 billion.
guys
Yeah,
were-
but when did he do it?
It's all-
when did he
He
do
couldn't
it,
get
Dylan?
any money from any American banks
No,
for
it's
a
complete
long
bullshit.
time, and he got money from Russia
No,
for a long time.
Total bullshit.
There's not nothing. But it's
Everybody
not
had
everything.
business.
Crazy,
Everybody was trying to make
Dylan.
money. Everybody was trying to make money off of Russian when they stopped when they realized they couldn't. Unless you're Hunter
Dylan,
Biden.
my point is that you're acting like what he did right there is 10 times worse than what the Democrats were doing.
No, I'm not.
And
I
it's
just don't-
it's
I
he
just
didn't do anything there. That's just there are people in Washington and in
We could
business
sit-
that do business.
we could talk
with
about
China
all the stuff that Trump did if you want to, Dylan, so you feel better. But I mean, it's like nobody's sitting there telling you he walks on water.
I'm not
He's
a Trump fan.
flawed man, a completely flawed candidate. Okay?
Yeah, totally. It's just intellectually dishonest to say there wasn't anything there.
No, but we're talking about there's enough that warrant the destruction of all 4 years of his
No,
presidency.
probably not.
Not even close.
Adam Schiff
Not
knew,
even to do a week.
Yeah, Adam Schiff knew there was no collusion, and so did the other Democratic operatives. They lied lied and lied.
I mean,
and
like,
the gatekeepers,
Dylan, do you think
the
that
media
Joe
gatekeepers
Biden, like, you push back so hard when I go, Joe
reading it for us,
Biden.
both of us. This is for me and
yeah, we're reading this against you, bro, because you won't
You
even
got a
acknowledge
fucking yellow
that
card?
Biden and Hunter,
Right here,
Joe and
fuck.
Hunter Biden have done some shady shit.
Preach.
Your whole response to that is like, well, what about the Trump kids?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man. At least the people on this show, I don't believe anybody that gets into that White House shouldn't be completely and utterly at every moment have their feet put to the fire of every moment.
Right here,
but you want to play this like I'm on one side good.
There you go, Wood Gypsy.
Yeah,
there you go, Wood Gypsy.
You communist fuck.
You communist fuck.
Great episode, everybody.
Oh, is it over?
Yeah.
There it is, kids. Hope you learned everything.
I think I won. And again, I am the voice of reason.
And I'm going to say it out loud right now. We're flirting with the idea of going behind a paywall for a lot cheaper.
All right, guys. I love you guys.
Great tease.
Sam
That's
Tripoli.
a great tease.
Yeah. Big tease. Is this going to be on YouTube? Yeah?
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. But
YouTube.
yeah, some stuff might be coming to Patreon soon.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you, SamTripoli.com. Please, somebody buy a ticket to my show. BryanCallen.com. Please, people, buy more tickets to Bryan's show. We love you guys very much. We'll see you soon. People ask, is everything a conspiracy? The answer is yes.
Who and what is controlling everything and why? They practice sorcery. I can't argue against magic.
I don't know what it is that we live on, but I believe it's a realm. This realm that we live in is the lowest level of heaven, highest level of hell.
Chicken snake gods and the Anunnaki and sorcery. If Sam says the chicken and snake god is running everything, I'm literally in the world of crazy. I'm winning.
You're losing. Conspiracy Social Club, aka Deep Waters.